It can be difficult to argue with people skeptical of mainstream science. They often use personal experience and logic to reach questionable or flat-out untrue conclusions. Like in this clip from the 1939 version of The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
The earth isn't round, it's flat.
How do you know?
I've observed it in all my travels over Europe. It's flat. Everywhere it's flat.
Oh, let's listen to the play.
Flat earthers are less of a public health concern than people skeptical about the risks of COVID-19. During a Senate hearing on reopening the economy, Senator Rand Paul passed along some feedback to Dr. Anthony Fauci.
All I hear, Dr. Fauci, is we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't play baseball. Well, even that's not based on the science. We need to not be so presumptuous that we know everything.
And at the core of a lot of this lockdown skepticism is a deep distrust of institutions. We're told to trust the science, but throughout history, the medical field has exploited marginalized communities.
They rightly are skeptical.
Terrace King is a pastor at Liberty Grace Church of God in Baltimore.
They're skeptical because of the continuous unequal treatment that they've received, not through stories just of Tuskegee in the past.
He's referring to the 40-year research study known as the Tuskegee experiment. In that study, Black men infected with syphilis were deliberately left untreated so federal officials could study the disease.
That's always the story that's brought up. But today there's unequal treatment in hospital systems. They have seen, heard, and witnessed unequal treatment in the healthcare system.
King is a pastor in a part of Baltimore hit hard by COVID-19, and he often turns to scripture to combat skepticism about science.
There is a connection between Jerusalem and Athens. Intellectualism, as in Athens, is not at odds with the faith of Jerusalem.
One example is the story of Noah's Ark.
My father Enoch told me that one day, if man continued in his ways, the Creator would annihilate this world.
So what I saw was true. All life blotted out because of what man has done.
A leader took an approach to save himself and his family, following the instructions of God.
King says it's a story of solid data gathering. While in the Ark, Noah sends out a raven to get a sense of whether Earth is habitable. The raven doesn't return, and then he sends out a dove. The dove returns with nothing, then an olive branch, and eventually doesn't return at all, which signals to Noah that Earth is ready for him.
But he still waited to hear the voice of God before he opened that ark.
Another example, specifically Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. He's there with his disciples, Peter, James, and John. Here's that passage put to song in the musical Jesus Christ Superstar.
Take this cup away from me, for I don't want to taste its poison.
In this text, Jesus needs to distance from them to pray to God to remove the cup of death.
There was something that he was required to do that compelled, that pulled him away from them to be at distance because he had a mandatory requirement to gain strength.
The connection for Terrace King is that we all need to stay physically distant if we want to stay healthy. The church service is still remote, and his congregation understands why. The sermons help, but he wants others to reach out to the community. King preaches a lot about the importance of getting a flu shot, but he's skeptical about the Trump administration's rush to get a COVID-19 vaccine out by the end of the year.
I haven't made any attempt to convince people that they should be more immediately confident in the COVID vaccine.
He says skepticism, at least in this case, may not be a bad thing.
I'd want to know, my God.
For Philosophy Talk, I'm Holly J. McDede.
Oh my God.